Welcome to AI for Good, the leading action-oriented, global and inclusive United Nations platform on AI. Organized by ITU, in partnership with 40 UN sister organizations, and co-convened with Switzerland. The goal of AI for Good is to identify practical applications of AI to advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and scale those solutions for global impact. In today's session, we're counting on you to use the live video wall feature to ask questions and post comments to help create an engaging discussion. We encourage you to stay until the end to chat, connect, ask questions, and network with our distinguished panelists and world-class AI experts in the neural network. It is now time to kick off the session and welcome our first speaker. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Anna. A very good day to everyone, and thank you so much for joining this session. Welcome to the AI for Good Innovation Factory session. I am Thomas Pascal from ITU. The Innovation Factory is a part of the AI for Good initiative, and it is a global AI startup pitching platform that is designed to help startups grow and scale their innovative AI solutions. These solutions are supposed to achieve or to accelerate the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And the Innovation Factory also helps startups to provide business opportunities, mentoring services such as matchmaking with potential business partners, networking, of course, as well as showcasing their AI solutions. And on top of that, winning prizes. And today, the Innovation Factory is the second session on AI and machine learning solution for climate change. The first session, we hosted it a few weeks back on 9 October. And the best teams for both the first and this second session will be invited to the grand finale that will take place at 2023 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP28 in Dubai on 2nd December. Furthermore, some of the startups will be invited to the AI for Good Global Summit in May 2024. So there is a lot of stakes there. Good luck to all the startups that are pitching their session on today's session. And I believe that the Innovation Factory is a good opportunity for the top teams, because not only are they going to be able to pitch their technology and solutions in front of renowned AI experts, but also they can meet investors. They can network with high-level government officials as well as other UN agency colleagues. And during the AI for Good Summit next year, the top teams or the top startups will be invited to a VIP exclusive networking events where, of course, they have opportunity to meet various business partners. Today, we have a variety of startups that are going to pitch in the two themes of water resource management that was proposed by our colleagues from UNESCO, as well as on food and climate smart agriculture. This was proposed by our colleagues from FAO. So good luck to all the startups. Now, I would like to take a minute or two to introduce our judges for today's pitching session. First, I'd like to introduce Melissa. Melissa Sass works with early stage entrepreneurs on digital and business transformation. She is a serial entrepreneur. So, Melissa, welcome and good morning.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm good? Awesome.
Yes. So just a few things about yourself and your entrepreneurship.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dr. Melissa Sassy. I've spent a lot of time working with the ITU and been a judge for AI for Good for some time. So thank you again for having me. I am a venture partner at Machine Lab Ventures, and we focus on enabling startups, scale-ups, and enterprises gain access to growth. And that may be, customers, revenue, co-marketing opportunities, enterprise, partnerships, distribution channels. Spent the last 10 years in big tech. So built startup programs at both IBM and Microsoft. And over the last 8 years, I've scouted 225 startups, 75 countries, raising more than, $350, $400 million. Lots to share. I'm also an entrepreneur myself, but we'll save all of that for later because I could go on, and then we wouldn't have, a competition. So thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everyone, for having me.
Thanks a lot, Melissa. Next up, I would like to introduce Carlo Brider, who is the founder and executive chairman of the Total Brider Institute for Partnership Excellence. Carlo, good morning and welcome to the Innovation Factory.
Yeah, good morning and good afternoon to everybody online. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself. I've been a judge on AI for Good now since 2020. So this is my third year running. Super thrilled with the quality and the innovation that comes through is just incredible. A little bit about me. I'm the co-founder of the United States National AI and Cybersecurity Information Sharing Analysis Organization. Participant on NATO SciCon and StratCom Center of Excellence. I'm a member of the U.S. National Institute of Science and Technology's working group on generative AI. I'm a committed SDG 2030 ambassador. In my former time, I worked intensely with the World Economic Forum as a special constituent member, focusing on Africa in particular. And working on the G20 global risk assessments. And in my spare time, I support the Forbes Technology Council on cybersecurity and to a certain extent on AI as well. So that's a super quick background about me. I'm very, very, very thrilled and excited about today's contest. So take it away.
Thanks a lot, Carlo. Next up, we have Jennifer Woodard, who is the co-founder and CEO of Inst Intelligence. So Jennifer, good afternoon.
Hi, Thomas. Hi, everybody. Welcome and good morning and good afternoon to you. So my name is Jennifer Woodard. I'm co-founder of Insight Intelligence. It's a machine learning startup that leverages artificial intelligence for the detection of online harm. So something that's very much associated with AI for Good. I'm also an AI expert for the European Commission and a frequent speaker on the topic of AI around the world. Thank you. Excited to be here.
Thanks a lot. So these are our judges, the judges panel, but of course we also have colleagues from FAO who have joined us, and of course colleagues from UNESCO should be joining us soon as well. So thanks everyone for joining, and of course we have our wonderful audience on the Neural Network. Welcome, and of course you can, if you have questions, do type them on the chat. Okay, now let's go into the pitching now. Just a quick information to all the startups that are pitching today. Each startup has 5 minutes for the presentation, and right after the presentation, you have 5 minutes for Q&A. 4 minutes into your presentation, I will tell you that you have 1 minute to wrap up. At 5 minutes, we will finish, we will stop, and we'll start the question and answer from the judges. And of course, we will take some audience questions at the end. Okay, let's now start. The first one to go is SI Analytics. So I would like to welcome Yeji, who is going to make the presentation from SI Analytics. Good evening, Yeji.
Good evening. I'm Yeji Choi from SI Analytics. And can you see my screen? Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, now I think you can see my screen. So thank you for introducing me and thank you for having me today. And today I'm going to I'm going to share the answer of how AI can provide more faster and detailed intelligence for pre and post disasters. We are currently facing unprecedented levels of crime crisis. To address this challenge, we at Analytics have sought to utilize the satellites that observe our planet and provide vast amount of imageries. Additionally, we leverage artificial intelligence to efficiently extract the information from these vast disasters. Satellites come into two main types. One is the geostationary satellite, which observe the same spot and provide imagery every several minutes. The other is the low Earth orbit satellites, which observe the Earth roughly every 1 to 2 hours, provide global coverage. The latter offers extremely high resolution, like 30 centimeters or 50 centimeters to 1 to 3 meters. These kind of images are very close, observed at the point of very close to the Earth. With this, we can see details like ships or vehicles or buildings and roads. However, geostationary satellite, so this is the very high resolution images, and this is geostationary satellites. So the geostationary satellites are pivotal in predicting and analyze weather-related disasters, as they can capture the large-scale movements of the atmosphere. Our goal is to use these two satellites. And we want to obtain necessary information from anywhere on Earth without any disparity. For example, in forecasting disasters like floods, which is related to heavy rainfall, real-time radar observation is crucial. However, installing radar is extremely expensive and maintaining also costs a lot. So the radars are predominantly in developed countries. Our intention is to bring this gap by utilizing satellites, which observe universally with the same sensors. Just as prediction accuracy for the southern hemisphere has matched that of the northern hemisphere using satellites, we hope to eliminate the differences between developed and developing countries in disaster prediction and monitoring. Ultimately, our objective is to minimize disaster damages through an early warning system available for all. So these images are precipitation map from satellite images we analyze, and this is typhoon cases. So we can extract the precipitation rain rates from satellite images with very high resolutions in spatial and temporal. And early warning for all is necessary for our planet. And furthermore, the detailed data from satellites from low Earth orbit is invaluable in assessing the damage in disaster areas. It can provide essential insights into which area should be prioritized for recovery and rescue. This is an example, and our demo showcase an analysis of the recent wildfire damage in Hawaii. Through comparing pre- and post-disaster imageries, our model can determine the damage level of buildings. So you can see the pink was destroyed or from the wildfire, and blue buildings are okay. So you can see the differences between pre and post imagery. So we hope this model aids in rapid understanding disaster scenarios. In conclusion, our aspiration is to realize impact-based weather intelligence utilizing satellite and AI. Thank you. For us, for all of us, and for visionaries, our platform will provide this value. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. Now I would like to start with the judges. So Melissa.
Okay, awesome. I want to ask you about your business model. How do you plan to make money?
Yeah, so obviously we open our web-based platform to analyze satellite imagery, and also we have planned to provide our data and AI model as API, so they can use our data and AI model to analyze their site. Yeah.
Would that be like on a subscription basis, if you will? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So our platform, our customer, they buy our credits. That credit can be paid for the analysis.
Okay, awesome. And what kind of risks do you see of using AI? What do you think you've not thought about, or what do you think could be harmful or challenging with what you're doing now, or
Yeah,
what you envision to be doing with the data?
Yeah, actually, the geostationary satellite, it has very higher temporal resolutions, but the higher resolution imagery, like from the low Earth orbit, it is difficult to get the real-time data set because they orbit every hours. So real-time mission is a little bit difficult for us so far, but I expecting more satellites will launch in the future, in the near future, and in that day we can get more frequent images that can overcome these limitations these days.
I think I probably didn't articulate it well, but I was thinking more about ethically. Are there any ethical challenges that might get in the way for with people or businesses, or what kind of ethical challenges might you see?
Actually, the satellite images, the resolution is not as higher as the aerial images or drone images, so there is no private related issues. But because the satellite can observe everywhere, so in some point that should be protected to not to be open, but satellite they observe all areas, so that can be some problems.
Thank you very much. I'll let the others carry on. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, I would like to ask Jennifer for some questions.
Sure. Congratulations on your project. It's really interesting. I wanted to ask you, how much of your technology is proprietary to you? Where are the satellite images coming from? Where does this data come from? And also, I wasn't quite clear on whether or not you're operational already on the market, if you're making money, or if we're kind of pre-launch deployment.
Yeah, actually, our geostationary satellite imagery, the meteorological geostationary satellite, is publicly available, so anyone can download that data. But the problem is reading data is not easy. So that point we need the domain specialist, and the higher resolution imagery we should buy. So we buy them from the private companies like Maxa or Planiscope, and we have partners with that companies. So we can get the images. So I think that is the first question's answer. Yes. And the second one is. Pardon me, I forgot the question.
No, it was two pieces of it. One was what level of deployment you have for your technology, if it's on the market, and the other piece is how much of it is actually developed by yourself. So are the models entirely your own intellectual property? Are they built using somebody else's intellectual property? It's more around that.
Yeah. Actually, our company, we have the research team. So they develop the models by ourselves. And also we collaborate with the universities. So the university labs, they also research together and they develop the models. Yeah, so that's our structure. So is it okay?
Okay, yeah, but just are you selling to clients currently or
Yes, we starting selling our service too. So the platform, the ovision.ai, you can go directly in the website, and some customers already use that platform. So yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to ask now, Carlo.
Yeah, it's a quick question for you. Do you have what does your competitive landscape look like? Is your solution really unique, and or is there quite a lot of competition? Could you give me an answer to that, please?
Yeah, actually, the precipitation map that is quite superior than other product, because most global precipitation map has a lower resolution than ours. So I think that's very helpful, like in the Pacific Island region, because they need higher resolution images. So I think that's our point to emphasize our service, and the building damage assessment, the post-disaster. In the case, mostly they gather the information about the damages in the bottom-up way. So they survey to the community, and they get the results of the disasters. But in our case, we need just one images. So very quickly we can analyze. That's our point.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I'll stop my questions here.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Before I go to the next one, I think it wasn't clear to me, like how much revenue are you making currently? And
Revenue
projections for the future.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I think I can't answer the question. So the revenue is not quite my portion. So I'm more research side. So I'm sorry for that.
Okay, thanks. Okay, now we are going to the next speaker, and we will cover team or startup Bloom. So do we have Hamza? Sorry. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Can you share again the screen? Maybe I cannot see. Hamza, can you share the screen again? Yes.
I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see that?
Yeah, make it full screen. It's taking long to load, maybe.
I am sharing my, can you see? Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, it's full screen here, but perhaps.
I think it's a connection issue.
Is it full screen now, please?
It's not showing full screen.
Is it full screen now?
No. We can just see the slide.
Hear, I just.
Thomas, I'm not sure whether you want to, what you'd like to do. I may perhaps move on to the next one, or.
Yeah, can you try again, Hamza? If it doesn't work, then we'll move to the next presenter, and then we can do yours later on.
Is that sharing now, please? Can everyone see my screen?
I can see your screen, yes, but can you make it full screen?
Yeah, it's full screen on my part.
Okay, we have a problem, so let's move to the next one. We will try to maybe share from our side your presentation later on. Okay, so the next startup to present is My AI by Paul. So Paul, Hamza, you can stop sharing. Okay, Paul, can you share your screen?
Ok, merci.
Hi, Poker, can you hear me?
Yes. So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Ok. Bonjour. Vous voyez mon écran, j'espère.
Oui, absolument.
Ok, merci. Bon, vous allez m'excuser, je vais parler en français. Ça sera un peu difficile de mixer les deux langues, donc de préférence, je parlerai en français. Donc, je suis Paul Destiné Kitsuku. Je suis donc élève à l'École supérieure internationale de génie numérique. Et ma présentation va porter sur Clarisse. Et Clarisse qui est en fait une assistance au niveau de la plateforme EarthMap. Et donc, avant de vous présenter la solution, on va essayer un peu de contextualiser la chose. Alors, dans le contexte actuel, on a EarthMap qui est une plateforme fournie par qui entretient en partenariat avec les services Google indiens. Notamment, c'est une panoplie d'informations qui fournit aux utilisateurs des informations sur le climat, la biodiversité et d'autres informations. Mais cette panoplie d'informations est parfois difficile à gérer au sein des utilisateurs. D'où on est parti sur une analyse. L'analyse, c'est quoi en fait? L'analyse, c'est que si vous regardez le nombre de visiteurs du mois de septembre au niveau de la plateforme EarthMap ici, vous allez vous rendre compte qu'il y a plus de 50 000 utilisateurs et seulement 33% de ces utilisateurs quittent la plateforme après avoir visité la première page. Et les pages consultées en moyenne, on a environ 0,2 pages. Et puis, le nombre d'utilisateurs, la durée moyenne de l'utilisateur, c'est à peu près 13 secondes. Toute la problématique qui a rencontré le FA pour nous contacter, nous suggérons en fait de développer une solution qui peut permettre de résoudre ce problème, notamment la compréhension, la difficulté d'utilisateur à mettre du temps au niveau de la plateforme. Maintenant, nous, on a développé quoi? Clarisse. En fait, Clarisse, c'est une assistance qui accompagne l'utilisateur au sein de la navigation de la plateforme EarthMap. Donc, ici, on est dans la version bêta. Donc, ne vous fiez pas aux réponses que Clarisse donne actuellement. On est en phase des tests. Ici, on faisait juste des tests pour voir est-ce que Clarisse comprend bien les demandes de l'utilisateur pour essayer de fournir des informations qu'il faut. Maintenant, qu'est-ce que cette solution apporte au sein, par exemple, de la plateforme EarthMap? Alors, il y a d'abord la rapidité par rapport aux réponses de l'utilisateur à ces questions, pardon. Et il y a aussi l'assistance à la navigation. On accompagne l'utilisateur lors de sa navigation au niveau de la plateforme EarthMap. L'autre avantage, c'est l'expérience utilisateur qui est améliorée et aussi la possibilité d'intégrer d'autres langues que Clarisse peut servir d'intermédiaire. Et une dernière avantage, c'est que Clarisse peut être intégrée aussi à beaucoup d'autres systèmes, comme d'autres bases de données externes pour l'enrichir de plus en plus afin de répondre spécifiquement aux besoins des utilisateurs. Maintenant, pour parler de la rentabilité un peu du projet, on va partir sur une hypothèse simple. Ce sont les statistiques d'Amazon. On pouvait prendre n'importe quel site web aussi. Mais ici, c'est pour vous montrer un peu comment on peut rentabiliser en intégrant notre solution. Alors, ici, c'est l'utilisation Amazon à l'intégration, disons les données d'Amazon avant l'intégration des chatbots et ici, c'est après l'intégration des chatbots. On a l'impression que le chiffre d'affaires d'Amazon a été multiplié même par 5. Mais est-ce qu'on va se poser la question, est-ce que la seule raison qui a poussé cette multiplication, c'est l'intégration des chatbots? Non, mais les chatbots ont contribué en partie à l'amélioration de tous ces avantages que j'ai énumérés en avant. Maintenant, il y a d'autres systèmes, on voit de plus en plus beaucoup d'autres sites web qui intègrent les assistants. Cela montre juste que les chatbots ou les assistants, en fait, ont leur place au niveau des différentes plateformes pour aider vraiment l'utilisateur à la prise de décision, la réponse facile. Et quelques importantes statistiques, ici, on a 90% des utilisateurs se disent que, en fait, des clients sont satisfaits après avoir changé peut-être au moins 10 messages avec un chatbot et disent que leur préoccupation a été résolue. Et puis, il y a 64% des business qui affirment que, en fait, l'utilisation des chatbots est beaucoup mieux par rapport des utilisateurs qui faire un support client de tous les temps. Maintenant, nous, sur quoi est basé notre modèle économique? Alors, le modèle économique sur lequel se base notre système, c'est quoi? C'est les abonnements. Ici, les abonnements offrent quoi comme avantage au niveau des utilisateurs, notamment les alertes. Alors, on veut faire un système où on permet d'informer l'utilisateur sur des enjeux économiques et climatiques, par exemple, ça veut être via les emails, des messages personnalisés ou bien via une application qu'on est en train de développer. Et ici, en fait, c'est dire à l'utilisateur quels sont les dangers, par exemple, par rapport au fait de forêt, pour qu'ils puissent prendre des décisions, par exemple, par rapport à une activité. Ça peut être des inondations, par exemple, c'est ce qu'on a vu récemment en Libye, ou bien les incendies qu'il y a de temps en temps en Australie. On peut aussi faire des conseils et des sensibilisations des populations sur les enjeux climatiques, notamment sur la déforestation, la sécheresse et les inondations. Et puis, l'autre source de revenus qu'on prévoit, c'est quoi? C'est notamment les publicités. Donc, en bref, voici un peu la solution qu'on propose pour l'intégration des claristes ainsi que comment on peut rentabiliser ces. Merci beaucoup. Sinon, je suis disponible pour les questions.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. Now I would like to ask the judges. Carlo, you can go first.
Ok, je parle en français aussi pour Paul.
Merci beaucoup.
Alors, pour commencer, je voulais vous demander, disons pour le chatbot, vous utilisez ChatGPT ou une autre technologie de base?
On utilise le service Google Dialogflow pour fournir des réponses en fait aux utilisateurs.
Ok, ça n'a rien à voir avec Bard, Google Bard, ou c'est différent?
Bon, ça n'a rien à voir avec Google. Ici, c'est juste basé sur le modèle développé par Google qui est Dialogflow. C'est un ensemble d'outils qui permet de faire facilement des modèles en fait qui comprennent le langage naturel, un peu le cas des chatbots.
Ouais, je vois. Et alors, parlez-moi des clients. Qui est-ce que vous visualisez comme clients? Est-ce que c'est des entreprises, des gouvernements, des particuliers?
Oui, bon, les clients, nous, ce qu'on a spécifié, c'est normalement deux catégories. On va parler des gouvernements, notamment si on prend les exemples, par exemple, ce qui est arrivé récemment en Libye, les cas des inondations. Avec ces informations, on peut les aider à prendre des décisions, par exemple, sur des potentiels incidents qui peuvent arriver dans le futur. On peut aussi prendre des particuliers, ça peut être des personnes qui font, par exemple, dans l'agriculture ou qui font dans les énergies, leur fournir des informations qu'il faut afin qu'ils puissent continuer à promettre leurs activités.
Oui. Il y aura un prix d'accès ou bien c'est le modèle, c'est vraiment basé sur la pub, hein, sur la publicité? Ou il faudra payer pour avoir accès au service?
Oui, j'ai parlé qu'il y a deux volets. Il y a l'aspect publicité, mais j'ai parlé dans un premier temps qu'il y a les abonnements aussi. Les abonnements seront forcément payants. C'est vrai qu'on n'a pas encore défini le coût de l'abonnement parce qu'on est d'abord en développement. Donc, il y aura un coût pour acquérir ces informations et ces conseils.
OK. Et parlez-moi de votre équipe. Qui est-ce qu'il y a dans votre équipe pour réaliser ce projet?
Alors, bon, dans notre équipe, on est un groupe d'étudiants. On est à 4 ou 5 et on est tous des élèves ingénieurs à l'École supérieure internationale des génies. Donc, on s'est mis ensemble. Au fur et à mesure qu'on est en train d'apprendre des choses à l'école, on essaie d'appliquer pour résoudre les problèmes de la solution et de la société, pardon, parce que c'est un peu ce qu'est la logique de l'école qu'on nous a inculqué, qui est prendre ce qu'on a appris à l'école pour résoudre les problèmes que nous rencontrons dans la société.
Bon, je vous remercie beaucoup, c'est vraiment bien conçu. Mes compliments et bonne chance.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, I would like to ask Melissa if you have questions.
Oh, je ne parle pas français.
Yeah, you can English, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to fully understand all of the use case of I can see the pictures, but my French is not good enough to fully understand. So I think I will excuse myself, but thank you.
Okay, merci.
Okay, thank you. Next up, I would like to ask Jennifer.
I'll also excuse myself because Carlo actually asked all of the questions that I need to prepare for Paul. So I have no further questions. Congratulations, Paul, on your project.
Merci.
Sorry. Okay, thanks a lot, Paul. And right now, I would like to go back to Hamza. for his presentation. So Hamza, if you can turn on and share your screen.
Looks good.
I hope everything is fine now.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yes, so my name is Hamza, and I'm from Bloom. I and my colleagues have been working on a solution to help farmers have insights, farm variables or growth parameters of their farms. We use custom ML models to aggregate variables from the farms and use that to provide insights for them. Now, this is important because, as we know, there are lots of problems that are troubling farms, especially those of us bearing a huge brunt of the climate issue. So this solution is particularly important for that. This is the solution that our startup is broadly tackling. However, when it comes to this particular challenge, we are working on the Earth Map challenge, and we are developing a chat system to integrate with the existing UI of FMAP. For those who are not who don't know FMAP much, it provides you with a UI interface where you can interact with maps. There are lots of data sets on FMAP where you can have information on particular lands or areas of interest within the world. So the FMAP is there, and FMAP has an API, and this challenge wants us to develop a system that will further make the use of FMAP easier. So this is where Claris comes into the equation. Now, with Claris, we use a lot of models to aggregate information from users, and we change these users into an API call, which constructs an API call to FMAP, and FMAP presents the data in a visual form to the person. So, for example, a person can say that, Claris, show me the distribution of surface waters in West Africa with emphasis on Ghana. What we are working on is that Claris should be able to at least trigger certain events within FMAP, and then a UI is presented to the person. Now, Claris should be able to go on to also answer specific questions on the map that is being generated. So it should be able to trigger certain events within FMAP's API. The API documentation is available online, and we are developing our own system to link up with this FMAP API. So we are generally FMAP is using Firebase on its backend. So we are also using Firebase on our backend. We use the FMAP API, but also we have Earth Engine. FMAP is linked to Google Earth Engine, and we make our own custom models. These custom models should be able to extract information from the natural language that is being entered into a search box or an input box. When this information is being extracted, it is parsed and then converted into an API call, which is sent to FMAP, and then a visual information is displayed to the user. The person can continue to interact with this. This is when we use the Palm API. The FMAP team has mentioned that there is a partnership with FMAP and Google. So because of that, we are not using ChatGPT or any of the other API. We are using the Google Palm API, the same API which powers BAT. And also we index our search using ES Elasticsearch, and we make sure that all sort of errors are handled seamlessly within the system.
1 minute left.
Okay. And this is our team. We we were all in the same college, the University for Development Studies in Ghana here, and we really worked on some projects when we were in school. One of the projects we developed on was sorry about that. One of the projects we worked on was Vara Udio. Other one was another project we worked on was the. Sorry about that. Somehow this is skipping my mind. These are the projects that I know at the tip of my fingers. Was Vara Udio, where I led the project. We won 3,000 US. Again.
Time up. Hey, you have last slide, or this was the last?
Yes, this is the last slide, so I think that's fine.
Okay, thanks. Okay, right now I would like to request the judges to ask questions. So I would like to start with Jennifer to first ask questions.
Sure. Hi, Hamza. Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask you, it's kind of a broad question, but where do you see your company, your project within the next 3 years, let's say? And also, if you could maybe clarify before answering that question, where you are right now in your journey. Are you currently making revenue? Are you actively selling to clients? That would be my question for you. Thank you.
Right now, we are actively searching for funding, and we have some small number of users whom we are testing things out with. That is the stage we are now currently.
Okay. So let's say you get the funding that you're looking for and you're able to bring your product to market, where do you see yourself? What ideally, where would you like to see yourself in, say, 3 years?
In 3 years' time, we see ourselves helping a huge number of farmers in Africa. We are starting with Ghana here and perhaps Nigeria and some of the other countries that are nearby us. We want people to have some information on the farms that they have on their mobile phones. Now, they should be able to have maybe on their farms, this is the probable amount of moisture we have my farmhouse now, or this is the temperature of my farm right now, and others. Now, some of these data will be inputted by them. Maybe the data they have sown, we have to request it from them. Then we tell them that you have to perform this particular activity. You have to specify within this number of days. But the main thing here is our ability to aggregate some useful insights for them. So we see ourselves helping a whole lot of farmers. With regards to FMAP API, we wish to continually work with the FMAP team to not only work on water resources, which this challenge is basically on, but to also broaden that to tackle other data sets within the GIS system so that people can interact with FMAP globally. I mean, not just with the water resources, which this challenge is based on.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Hamza.
Okay, thanks a lot. I would like to ask Melissa to ask questions if she has some.
Yeah, sure. Just one quickly. What do you think could possibly go wrong, or what kind of risks do you see for the future, or even now?
With regards to FMAP, so FMAP is a main system that is standing on its own. We are building the chat system to help bring these events, to make these events possible. So our system is triggering certain events within the FMAP current UI system. With things that may go wrong, so far as FMAP is concerned, so far as the system we have is concerned, perhaps maybe the documentation for FMAP has changed. Clearly, when you look at the FMAP's API system, the documentation, and you compare that to F-Engine's documentation, F-Engine's documentation is much more well documented than FMAP's own. So perhaps FMAP's API may need to be worked on significantly as to make it much more customizable. Right now, many of there is a limited amount of API calls that I can make. Made a whole lot of API calls, but sometimes you really need to write complex algorithm or complex API calls to get certain information available to you. So that is how I see that. With our startup in general, we see that the demand will likely increase. It will increase. I do know that there are better monitoring systems that is being deployed right now, and maybe perhaps in the future algorithms have to be changed to make use of these better satellite technologies in order to measure these local variables that are there in our farms. But generally, I believe that the demand for this solution is huge.
Okay, one more question, then I'll move on. So with some of those challenges that you noted, what do you think is unique, or what do you think your value proposition is, either right now or where do you think it'll be in the future?
Right now, of course, chatbots powered by LLMs are the buzz right now. And there isn't any system right now which is making use of this geospatial data. So at this point, we are part of the pioneers who are working on this. And I believe that we would be one of the earliest to really do this. And people need this because not everyone, if you can check the FMAP website right now, you have to make a whole lot of clicks to be able to get some information on wherever you want. But if the person just come in, you don't need to have any information on GIS, no coordinates, nothing. You just type in everything. And we are those who aggregate that, use our custom models to extract relevant information, turn that into an API call, and then request the visual information, which is displayed by the user. They can download or use that in whatever they want. So I think one of our huge advantages right now is that we are one of the pioneers in this.
Awesome. Thank you, Hamza. That's it. I've covered my questions, Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So one last quick question from Carlo.
Yeah. Hamza, tell me, have you had the chance to discuss this with the future end users, so the farmers in this case? Have you run some research focus groups? What are the pain points that they've expressed to you? And then, and also how capable would they be to take advantage of your solution based on the technology that they have available out in the rural countryside?
Yes, thank you very much. We have talked to a lot of farmers. Some of them are in the rural areas who are doing the farms, and others are in Accra, Ghana's capital, who have farms within the local areas. Both of them seem excited. Those who are the cities ones says that they want to know what is happening in their farms, and they think this can really help them to do that. And those are the villages. Some of them mentioned that, yes, it's very hard now for them to know what is really happening. When I was growing up, we had a farm. When I was growing up, around May, June, we were planting. But right now in Ghana, planting has moved to around July in the part of the country that I have grown. So many of what these farmers have mentioned, I am able to, I relate with that quite well. And they say that this can help them. And some have made comments that if maybe the team can, if the system can talk to them in local languages, perhaps this will be better. So maybe they want something and the system talks to them in their local language. Maybe Ghana, Tree is our most spoken language, but where I come from, we speak Dagbani. So if this can, if the system can talk like that to them. However, the challenge with that is that we basically have no data on that. Last year, I was working with the Goethe Institute, a German company in Ghana. Yeah, I programmed a humanoid robot. One of the challenges was that I didn't have enough data sets to make the robot speak the local languages. I got limited amounts of data sets in the Ga language, and which I was able to. The robot had limited capabilities in that. The projects are, yes, in that. So that's one huge problem so far as that particular desire they expressed is concerned.
Okay. Thank you. We have to, in the interest of time, we have to move on to the next. So I would like to now invite your harvest. So we have Amen to present. Good afternoon. You're on mute.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to take you on a journey today about Claris by Your Harvest. From the inception of this discussion, we've been working tirelessly to integrate and work on a solution that integrates to our setup of solutions at Your Harvest, as we are an agtech startup that is mainly focusing on developing next generation and disruptive technologies to solve the pain points that farmers, especially smallholder or marginalized farmers, are having across the globe, especially with the attention to the global south. So how did we come to Claris? I'll just take you in a quick journey about my uncle, Mr. Shiri, who lives in Binga. So since we're growing up, we actually knew that the only place to go when we have any shortage in terms of yields is to go to our uncle's farm, Mr. Shiri. But the arid soil of his land in Binga seemed to defy his efforts for the past 7 years. And this has led to about 40+% reduction in crop yields, and the root cause is about him inaccurately be able to estimate the soil properties. And there is my uncle, Mr. Shiri. He has actually taken the matter to his own hands, carrying water from 5 kilometers away from the Binga Dam, using his coach cart with 4 donkeys to also water his crops. So what's the problem? The problem is so universal. 90% of the world's agricultural workforce are smallholder farmers, and they lack access to accurate soil data. This is because commercial farmers, they have a lot of technologies and they can fund them to be able to assess these elements. And this is causing a 30+% reduction in crop yields for smallholder farmers across the globe. And 50% of the water resources are mismanaged due to inadequate monitoring. This is one of the key drivers of the problems that these smallholder farmers are facing. So we're introducing Claris with our collaboration with EarthMap by FAO. So Claris, I'm going to speak on behalf of FIA. She's going to solve various issues that smallholder farmers are currently facing by providing precision insights based on the data that is being plugged out of our EarthMap API, and also provide real monitoring solution for soil moisture data and also water solution, so that farmers are able to visualize where they can grow the right crops using their current condition of the soil, and also being able to adapt to climate-ready farming and also enhancing their preparedness. So I'm going to take you through a journey where we see Claris in action. This is just a demo on how Claris is going to be like. I hope you can see my screen at the moment.
Yeah, it's loading, yeah.
Okay, so here's Claris. So this is going to be plugged into various solutions in our ecosystem, which farmers and current advisors are about to use with the launch in early 2024. So this is how it's going to work like. So the get started, my uncle, Mr. Shiri, is there, and Claris greets Mr. Shiri, my uncle. Then based on the location that Mr. Shiri had pinpointed, that's where his farm is, it also takes a step to do an extra verification. Then say, okay, I'm in Tebe, okay, allow, because there are several requirements that need to be accepted before a device can share its location. So it then collect the data from EarthMap API to see what kind of a soil is in Binga based on the categorization of those soils from the EarthMap API data. Then it then goes to select, yes, I have a loamy soil in my field. Okay, that's amazing. So what is he planning? Does he has already crops planted, or he wants to plant to do the planting so that he can be able to understand what kind of plants he can grow? So he was expecting to do soya beans. When he selects soybeans, okay, what is he interested in? So it automatically go and collects the data from EarthMap API based on the parameters that have been provided already. He seeks guidance whether soybeans is the right thing for him to do at the moment. Okay, then he says, I want to deal with the recommendations only, or I can seek guidance, because we also have another platform that we have at Your Harvest that can be helpful for him. So it connects him to a consultant, because we understand farmers are not analysts. Sometimes they might need help in terms of analyzing that. So the consultant, Mr. Serengi, who is one of the consultants in his area, is already around in this area. So with AgWork, which is one of our platforms, Mr. Shiri Warango can then be able to connect with the crop and soil consultant who is close to him. So this is the power of AI, and this is the power of how EarthMap AI can achieve with some of the solutions that we are building. Bringing together those solutions can help farmers drive sustainability and also achieve profitability in whatever produce that they're working on. And with AgWork being plugged in, Mr. Shiri can be able to invite Martin to be able to analyze this. So if himself cannot be able to translate the data that is provided by Claris. So this is how we drive results. This is how we achieve sustainability within the farming sector and the agriculture value chain at large. And this solution can be used by several stakeholders, including the researchers. The government themselves can plug into Claris and help to achieve their macro analytics analysis based on the solution.
Please wrap up.
Thank you. So that's it from our end.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. So I'd like to invite Jennifer for questions.
Sure. Thank you, Emin, for your presentation. It sounds like you guys are solving a very crucial problem and you know a lot about it. So congratulations on that. I wanted to ask you, I saw that you're presenting a prototype in Figma. I guess that means that you're pre-launch, right? The application itself does not exist yet? Okay, great. No problem.
So we are doing the analysis at the moment and trying out building the actual solution, which will be based on Google's Dialogflow, because it's a comprehensive solution that is being built by Google that enables this kind of AI or language learning and natural language processing, and it's useful in this case. And also based on that, EarthMap API is also built on Google framework. So the integration is going to be we are doing even the feasibility study for that as well.
Okay, and so you, I'm assuming, have already talked to potential end users. I was just wondering what countries or what geographies you're most focused on. I know that you discussed Zimbabwe, but is there the potential to go even further?
Yes, so at Your Harvest, we have a marketplace that we are going to launch in 2024, and that is a global landscape platform, and also the advisory freelancing platform, just like Upwork, is again to be on the global landscape. And Claris is going to be embedded into those solutions as well, since EarthMap AI analyzes data across the globe, and it is going to help anyone from anywhere.
Okay, you answered my last question. My last question was going to be, is AgWork part of your, basically your business? It is, right? It's not a partnership. Okay, because I think the part that's really has a nice seamless integration with actually the solvers of the problem. That's great. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to invite Carlo for questions.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that presentation. It was very clear, I thought. And so I wanted to ask you about languages. We talked earlier in some other cases, there can be a language issue. Do you have localization of languages to account for the different languages spoken in the different provinces of the target markets?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's actually a question that we were asked about last week on some of our solutions. So having that Google is one of the largest stakeholders in processing all these kind of things. So we're going to do the translation in terms of the interpretation of data, because EarthMap API is only in English, but in terms of the interpretation, it is going to be across different languages. So it fetches in English, then it translates to the local language of the farm. So upon the starting of the chart, the farmer should select their language or their account default language, and the translation will do magically from there.
Okay. And so I like the idea of the consultant. I think that's a really nice touch. How does that price point fit in the budget of smallholder farmers? Because in the example you gave, it was an example of $35 an hour for that particular consultant, which I'm sure is a very fair price. But the reality of many smallholding farmers is that $35 is quite a chunk of money. Depends on the country, of course. I lived, I'm half Ethiopian. I worked and lived in Ethiopia for a long time, and $35 is what you can earn in a month sometimes. So how do you make peace with that? How does that work?
Okay, so we have a different pricing model and different revenue streams planned, almost 18 of them. So first few that are going to fit in this one. There are a lot of NGOs willing to support smallholder farmers. And like GI said, for example, we're going to integrate with them. So for example, in communities that they want to sponsor farmers, the hourly rate of each and every consultant hired is going to be plugged into their basket of money. And the second thing, our marketplace enables farmers to sell produce to premium markets, and based on those transactions, let's say they are cultivating a wheat at the moment, that is going to be deducted when they actually make an actual purchase or an actual sale of wheat. And the other aspect is on a subscription model. If they choose to go on a dollar kind of a subscription per month, that would be helpful for them, because $1 sometimes it's something that also farmers can afford based on the produce. So it's our pricing tier that tries to fit in the different sizes of the farmers, because we understand that one size doesn't fit all when it comes to smallholder farmers, especially in marginalized communities.
Okay, great. Do you have time for one last question? Super quickly, I mean, what do you need to get launched and be successful? What are the next milestones?
Okay, so where we are lagging in terms of our development speed is funding. We're looking at around $150,000 in terms of recruiting more analysts and also machine learning and AI specialists to help in terms of finishing the development of the solution. That has been dragging us a little bit.
Okay, well, that's excellent. Thank you very much. My questions are done.
Okay, thanks a lot, Carlo. And I would like to give the floor to Melissa.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, you said that you were going to launch in Zimbabwe, correct?
Not in Zimbabwe only, but our pilot launch is going to be Zimbabwe, Kenya, India, and Uganda for the first quarter of 2024, yes. Okay,
got it. So if I think about internet connectivity in Zimbabwe and maybe other places beyond Zimbabwe, there are challenges with gaining access to the internet or having affordable internet. I think I just pulled up some stats here, and it looks like internet penetration rate in that country is like 35%. How do you plan to support these individuals if there is no internet access in certain locations?
Okay, I'll answer from this first question about the terms of how expensive, for example, data is in those locations. Actually, one of our discussions with the Kenyan Farmers Union was kindly drilling on that aspect. How do we able to make sure that our farmers can afford the data that is required to use those solutions? Then there are subsidies that are being applied, and even in Zimbabwe, Econet Wireless, which is one of the largest internet service provider, is giving a subsidy. For example, in terms of Facebook, accessing Facebook, they're giving subsidies when you buy that. And the governments are willing, even when it becomes when it comes to agriculture, because that's one of their main drivers of GDP. And the other aspect is on how people access, especially smallholder farmers. Sometimes they do not have access to internet. So we're going to be having community agencies with like one individual having the right kind of technology to access that. So he'll be helping farmers in terms of onboarding. Even on our marketplace, we understand that farmers are not able to even, sometimes most of them, to upload their agro produce and also the parameters required in the platform. So those agencies are going to be one of the foundational forces of your harvest to help farmers in those communities and helping them in terms of analysis. And that's why also ag work is one of the part. So an agent can seek employment there. Let's say he wants to be recruited in the Mushantike kind of community irrigation. So they post their service there and farmers can recruit them. Then they can help, for example, 10 or 15 farmers, and it helps with the bundling service in that aspect, driving sustainability in their remarkable growth trajectory.
Thank you. And one last question. Have you spoken to anybody in the government already about, their desire or willingness to help you with subsidies? Or is that an assumption?
Yes, the Kenyan Farmers Union said that they can approach the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Ministry of Agriculture then can also discuss with their telecommunication services. And in Zimbabwe, we're willing to engage with Potras, which is our telecommunications watchdog, who can be help in terms of the ethical usage of that aspect, because agriculture is a big deal, especially in the global south. So each and every government will be willing to drive the revenue and help us more the farmers. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That covers my questions, Thomas. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to the judges. Right now, we are going to the last but not least startup, IXO. So I'd like to invite Sean for a presentation. Sean, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to present today a work that we've been doing to build an Internet of Impacts as a core digital infrastructure over the past 8 years. And this is an infrastructure for financing and verifying impacts at an internet scale. What I'm excited about in relation to the water and agricultural sector is that we're able to integrate the good work that's done by model developers who create world models around soil health or water purification. These are some of the use cases that we're currently working on. And what this platform allows anyone to do is to bring contextual world models, establish digital twins of the impact producing systems, and then put this into outcome-based financing, digital financing, with digital assets, and ultimately building up a impact economy. So digital twins exist within the state space of our blockchain layer 1 infrastructure as entities that all have relations to each other. And it's really important to create these representations of impact producing systems to be able to monitor and see the changes over time. And so these monitoring data come from a range of sensor sources. So in this example, we have data coming from clean cook stoves, showing usage as well as the purchases of renewable biomass fuel. And this is live in production. Underlying this is a protocol which we've developed based on open web standards that enables the identification of the entities that are producing impacts, and then for data to flow through the system in the form of verifiable impact claims that are then evaluated, verified, and turned into impact certificates and tokens. What enables this is our causal AI models, which automate claim evaluations and the verification of outcomes. So this overcomes really two important problems in evaluating and verifying impacts at scale. The first is the lack of availability of contextual and high integrity models for evaluating change over time. So we know that, for instance, in the carbon sector, the traditional registries have got methodologies that have been called to question. And what this enables us to do is to create an explainable white box, updatable model of specific contexts and use cases. And then secondly, to operationalize these models in a way that's scalable, fast, and produces digital assets such as carbon credits in real time. And so we call this a digital financing dynamo because it enables much faster flows of capital back into reinvesting into the means of production. And this has a compounding return, both in terms of financial returns and impact returns. And by having these digital representations, this brings great accountability and transparency to both the offsetting of, for instance, carbon emissions, as well as accounting for the contributions that are made by funders. We're very excited about the way in which this enables the producers of impacts, whether this is small-scale farmers or households that are switching to clean energy sources, to participate in this new economy. So the benefits are directly distributed to the producers, to households, and we have integrations, for instance, with the Opera mobile browser, which is widely used in developing countries. So how does this get delivered? So we offer a platform as a service, which is really a full stack software solution, which provides all of the components from data models all the way through to the verification mechanisms, interfaces for selling and trading and offsetting impacts. Our business model is based on a mechanism that is built into the IXO blockchain, which enables fees for the services that are provided, such as the verification services, to be split between the platform operators as well as the service providers. Our market traction is across a number of sectors, and we work on a venture basis with the leading market operators across these sectors, and we have the most traction currently within the clean cooking sector, but are also working with some of the leading companies in solar irrigation, water purification, and soil technology. And so the big vision here is to provide a digital infrastructure that is globally accessible and that enables us to have intelligent sense and response systems using causal AI decision models and AI co-pilots. And so we're currently working on the natural language interfaces to this as well, and have some prototypes to develop to demonstrate in this regard. So I think on that, I'm going to open this up for questions.
Hey, thanks a lot for the presentation. I would like to start with Melissa for the questions.
All right, super. You can hear me okay? I switched my mics. It's okay? All right, super. Yeah, awesome. So Sean, a couple of quick questions for you. Talk to me a little bit about your tech stack. I mean, obviously you've got your blockchain, you've got all the different things that you're doing. You know, what are you doing, you know, from a cloud perspective, and how's that working for you?
Yeah, so it is a combination of Web 2 and Web 3. So we have a layer 1 blockchain, the IXO blockchain, which connects into all other blockchains through inter-blockchain communication. And so you're able to flow data across different ecosystems, as well as access liquidity in other blockchain ecosystems. And then we have decentralized data stores, which enable data sovereignty and data protection and privacy. A range of middleware, such as software SDKs that make it possible to develop your own applications for whether it's IoT integrations or client applications. We have mobile and web apps. We have integrations with, as I said, Opera, which is a leading provider in emerging economies of the mobile browsing device. And then the AI mechanism. So we have tooling to be able to develop your own evaluation and verification services.
Thank you. And can you walk me through maybe kind of priority markets from a country level perspective as you see it now?
Yeah, so within Africa, our main focus currently is on clean cooking, with most of the market traction in Zambia, but also Malawi, Mozambique, and going into a number of other countries quite soon. In the water sector, we're working in India and have projects in the pipeline in Cambodia. In the agri sector, it's mostly in Southeast Asia. We're just starting on seaweed production, which is both Latin America and East Africa and Southeast Asia. So there's a number of sectors that we're currently working in partnership with.
And one last question, and I apologize if you already answered this. I don't know if I heard it or not. Have you raised any capital? I mean, I think with your projects, it sounds like you've got revenue coming in, I assume.
Yeah.
You've got a lot going on. And then on the raise side, how much have you raised, if anything?
Yeah, so there's been two phases to this project. Up until the end of last year, it was an open source project, which was primarily funded through grants, around about $10 million over the last 8 years. Since the beginning of this year, we've set up the commercialization. So we still have a venture cooperative, which is sustaining the and growing the open source, and then the IXO company, which was founded in Singapore. And we have our first investors into that company, and of course, as you say, our revenue generating. It's just early stage revenue generating on the commercial side.
Okay, awesome. That covers it. Tomas, thank you, Sean.
Thank you so much. Next, I would like to invite Jennifer for questions.
Hey, Sean, congratulations on your project. Looks great. I want to ask you, I might have missed it. Are you the founder of the company?
I am, yes.
Okay, great. Can you tell me a little bit about the wider team?
So we have mostly over the recent years had software developers, so it's been mostly a sort of tech stack building focus, with the bulk of the developers being in South Africa, but also developers in Europe and the US, and now with our focus out of Asia, Southeast Asia, we're building up a team out of Singapore. So currently the team's around 12 full-time people and some contractors, and we're in the process of scaling that up.
Okay, great. Just very quickly, I know we don't have a lot of time. I just want to maybe in just one sentence, kind of who is your ideal customer persona for your product?
So from an IXO perspective, we're essentially a B2B. And so we're working with well-established companies and distributors and not necessarily commercial, they may be large NGOs that have got market reach and scale. We're really at a point now where it's all about scale and who can we strategically venture with that can have access to markets and get it to scale. The software is production ready in the market. Now it's really all about market traction.
Excellent. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have Carlo. Hi, Carlo.
Yep. Here's my video. So your last answer actually is a segue to my next question. So you mentioned it's about scaling and it's about finding the right partners. I'd like to ask you who you think the right partners would be.
So we are working with technology developers and distributors primarily. There is now an increasing focus on nature-based solutions, and so partners who have got, for instance, large land concessions or concessions for seaweed production. But the climate technologies, I think, are really important in terms of the economic returns that can be generated, particularly connecting them real time into the carbon markets. And so cook stoves, solar water pumps, water purification. We have partners in all of these sectors, and now with soil sensors as well to do real time localized soil sensing. Okay,
and so to wrap up, just tell me, your dream of if everything goes swimmingly well, right? In 10 years time or 15 years time, and you're looking back at your project, if everything goes to the maximum, what impact do you think this could have actually have had on the world?
Yes, so I guess that one tangible metric is the carbon credits, because it's something measurable, although I'm a little remiss to kind of be carbon tunnel vision focused, but this is definitely at least a gigaton, if not a multiple gigaton solution, and I think that's a proxy for all of the other impacts that can be achieved.
And in terms of, you mentioned in your slides, and this will be my final question, that it can really impact positively the lives and the income of individual farmers. Can you give me an example of what that would look like in the life of a farmer in a smallholder in rural location?
Yeah, well, let me, if I may, give you an example in the clean cooking sector, because that's where we already have a live implementation. So a family that makes the switch to clean energy receives the carbon credits directly to their wallet, and they then have the power of economic decision about what they do with that. Part of that can go towards repayments on the cook stove, or in the case of our implementation, they can actually purchase more carbon credits, or use the digital currency that they now have in the form of carbon credits to then start accessing parametric insurance or microfinance loans and so on. That's currently in the works. That's not implemented yet, but very, very soon will be. So it's really a way of leapfrogging into the digital economy for people who really have no other means of onboarding into digital finance, for instance.
I've said that was my last question, but so just make a point. I'm really interested in what you're just saying. As myself, Ethiopian, having worked on grassroots projects in rural Ethiopia, I know, for example, the issues of stoves and cooking capabilities is a real serious problem across the country, right? It's a problem that causes a lot of disease, for example, blindness because of the smoke in the dwelling and so on and so forth. So it's a really important problem to resolve. My question that maybe we can take offline is, how do you go about spreading the message that this is possible and explaining it, when you're really, in a country where like Ethiopia, where, it's not all that urbanized yet, right? So you really need to spread out. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, so it's a much longer conversation, which I'd love to have, but the business model around this is really compelling. It's a very, very good product market fit. It's cheaper than charcoal to switch to this form of cooking, and the climate finance that essentially comes in to provide the additional capital that's required to make the switch is really game changing if we can get it right to flow the value in the right way without value extraction. So we think this is we're proving that this model actually works, and there's huge demand for the cook stove, certainly in the countries where this is currently being implemented.
Like you said, it's all about partnerships right now. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are almost finishing the session. These were the presentations that we had, or the startups that we had for today. Right now, I'd like to request our colleagues. I saw Cohen just dropped, so I don't know if there's anyone from UNESCO, maybe no. But I'd like to maybe give the floor to our colleagues from FAO. Eric, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, thank you so much. We are with 5 people on the call in the panel, and we're following this with great interest. So yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Paul, Eamon, Hamza, and Sean for presenting all your solutions. That's exciting, actually. And yeah, the roadmap for AI is important for us, so it's good to connect that with roadmap. Actually, I was triggered by also by the last speaker, Sean. And my question is actually, how do you so we talked about EarthMap. How do you see your stack in relation to a public stack, like software stack like EarthMap? How do you see this? Because both are, your stack and EarthMap is subject to significant investments. So how can we deal with that and relate maybe the two of them better?
Yeah, so the approach that I've taken is ready to focus on the interfaces, and from a software perspective, it's APIs. So enabling systems to connect and speak to each other. But I think that there's interfaces also in terms of partnership models, business models, and communications, I guess, kind of really creating the governance and organizational coordination mechanisms to be able to bring this together. So on the software level, it's actually relatively trivial because as long as these systems are standards based and interoperable, built to be interoperable, they provide components that any software developer can come along. We've tried to really focus on making this easy for most software developers to be able to use, and it's kind of plug and play and composable.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, at the moment we don't have further questions. Other than want to thank very much ITU for organizing all of this because it's very nice to be part of this. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you so much, Eric. And of course, if I can give one last chance, 10 seconds to all the startups, can you give me your unique proposition? So let's start with Sean. 10 seconds, unique proposition.
Yeah, so a very big vision of having a global digital immune system for humanity. That's a very bold thing to say. But this is something that, having worked tirelessly on it for the last 8 years, is a reality. And we're ready for market adoption and invite everyone to come and be part of the solution.
Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to give 10 seconds to Amen. What is your unique proposition?
Okay, thank you so much. So we are building a next generation ecosystem of technologies that make sure that no farmer is left behind. And with that, we're addressing several components of the SDGs, for example, no poverty, zero hunger, and also making sure that the environment that they are living in and they're growing their crops in is left sustainable for the future generations. And we're integrating all the agriculture value chain stakeholders within one space with a comprehensive solution that takes in touch of each and every pain point that they face while driving profitability and sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Next, I would like to give the floor to Hamza. What's your unique proposition?
Our unique proposition is to empower people to have information about geographic data using natural language. That is so far as this challenge is concerned. And broadly on for our startup, to make sure that people use natural language to gain insights on what is happening in their farms, in their farmlands. Yeah, starting with Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Paul. Hi, Paul, can you hear me? Yeah.
Ok, merci. Bon, pour nous, l'unique proposition serait, en fait, c'est aider les entreprises, les gouvernements ou bien les particuliers à facilement prendre des décisions d'enjeux, on va dire, climatiques. Et dans ce sens où, par exemple, ce qui est arrivé récemment en Libye en cas d'inondation, des sécheresses ou bien les risques d'incendie, pour essayer de prévenir vraiment que la décision soit prise avant que le pire arrive. Donc, c'est dans ce sens que nous nous orientons. Merci.
Thank you. Last but not least, Yeji.
Yeah, I think AI is the perfect tool to extract the features from the best amount of satellite images. And we have domain specialists and also AI specialists to develop the AI models for us and for the Earth. So we really want to contribute to the disaster part to reduce the damages for our service. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So at this point, I would like to close the session. Thank you to all the judges for making your time, asking questions, evaluating the solutions. We thank you. One quick announcement, we are not announcing winners today. We will shortlist candidates and the winning teams will be announced at COP28. So we are going to organize another session at COP, physical meeting, but of course we'll have online webinar as well for some people to join as well. So beyond the tune in on 2 December for our finale and award ceremony. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for participating in today's AI for Good session. We hope you've learned something new, innovative, and engaging in today's event. We now encourage you to continue the conversation on the live video wall in the neural network. Here you can ask questions, like and comment, share links, complete the poll, connect with interesting profiles, or speak one-on-one using the chat and video function. We invite you to explore the lobby, try the smart matching quiz, visit the virtual exhibits, poster boards, the eShop, and build your personalized AI for Good program. Let's shape the future of AI for Good.
AI is a powerful tool.
This summit can help ensure that artificial intelligence charts a course that benefits humanity and bolsters our shared values.